Our next session is actually quite packed. For those of you who don't know, we at MOSIP hold multiple hackathons in the year. We also support other universities in hosting them. This year, we have brought the top solutions of MOSIP Create to Morocco to be here to interact with you, to show you their solutions. Very, very quickly, because we wish we could have long conversations, but there's too much to say. We have 8 teams with us today who are going to come up one after the other to give you a brief on the solutions that they have worked on with the MOSIP team for the last many months. There was an external panel that evaluated these solutions, and it's the 8 top solutions that are here to talk to you today. I have taken over Pragya's job, it looks like. Do you want to announce each team? Okay, we'll invite our first team on stage, our first winning solution, a team from X Enterprise.
Thanks, MOSIP, for this organizing this event. So we are from X Enterprise. We are a company which is focused on GovTech solutions and FinTech. One of our vision is to make solutions accessible for the government in a sustainable fashion. Some of the solutions are exorbitantly expensive and not sustainable on a longer run. Sometimes, when we buy a car or a phone, we know clearly that in about 3-4 years you're going to replace it. But with government solutions, sometimes we don't estimate that life cycle or have a total cost of ownership for a period of 10 years. How are we going to upgrade it? How are we going to next stage? So we work with governments. We come with a collective experience of 60 years into public sector digital transformation. So today's focus for the MOSIP Create is a specific component of our civility framework called Civility Secure Docs. So I heard a lot of topic. People are concerned about how wallet is going to work and what's the future of wallet, how the compatibility is going. And there presents a clear problem statement for the future, right? Around the world, the governments are looking at reformation opportunities. Some of the acts which are passed in 1967 or 80s and things like that are ready for reformation. They need to be enacted again or made it digital by design. So those are very exorbitant, lengthy processes which always require to be relooked at. So one of the problem is reformation. And when you do reformation, there's a lot of question about how do we reform and how quickly we can impact the people. So it's a bigger question there, and I heard a lot of panel discussions around it and how this is going to make it viable, and I can understand the problems behind it. Similarly, a problem that comes together with that is typically in the government, the ease of doing business is a bit of a problem because multiple agencies, they work in silos. Okay, so one document issued from one agency has to be produced in another agency, and people run around with it, especially when you attract investors or even grassroots level economy. It is difficult for people to walk around with these documents. So what is the consequences of it? Missed opportunities, creating problems and for the people. At the same time, some of the big bang digitalization efforts going into vain because it's not sustainable, it takes time, and people are not seeing the result. So that's precisely where Secure Docs and Insignia comes into picture. So the idea of Secure Docs is again, it's a wallet, but there are a lot of components built into the wallet, especially to ensure the trust and verification. So that's where the Insignia comes into place. So we are looking at a unified wallet. Right now, when we speak about wallet, it's mostly we are talking about credentials and verifiable credentials and things such as around it. But there is more to it. When you take a helicopter view of it, there are more credentials. There are trades. There are various casinos. Many regulatory sectors also need to be verified. mines are there. There are plenty of regulatory sectors which are licensed. So all these documents that are issued, we want them to be going into a wallet and verifiable. And also, with secure docs, what we want is these documents to be shareable across board. Like, you want it to be shared with a bank for obtaining a loan or anything like that. We make it verifiable document. So this is a typical case of how it's going to operate. Yes, we have the MOSIP, which will validate the citizen who is accessing the wallet, and then from there, customer self-service, the output of all government systems. Imagine the number of systems that are going to be there once identity is there. Plenty of systems to accept the application and to give an output to the customer. So we have a unified wallet platform where these issuance happen through a secure channel, signed digitally, and we also support RON, which is a remote online notarization. So we issue all the documents through a single wallet, so people don't need to log into many applications to find their outcomes. So from that wallet, it's easy to share to the rest of the users. So that's a typical use case looks like. People access it, give a consent to share their documents to the required people, and because it comes through a government authorized platform, government signed platform, it helps people to quickly verify and deliver the service. You can imagine the impact. Reduced paperwork. We find a lot of paperwork right from the beginning to the end. We don't want that to happen. So no more paper issuance, no more scanning. We issue straight through MOSIP compliant technologies, straight into the wallet, and it can be verified through from the wallet itself. No fudging, paper frauds. People fudge documents and produce and get the entitlements, the fraudulent activities around it. And end of the day, the impact to the citizen, the modernization is immediately felt. Thank you. Please reach us in our booth. We can talk more about it. Thanks.
Thank you so much. There is a MOSIP Create booth at Solution Discovery, and all our teams and all of their solutions will be available there. So do catch up with them. We know the stage time isn't a lot. We'd like to invite the team from ECS.
Hi everyone, my name is Amit. As you can see, I represent ECS. Very quick background on ECS as a company. We are a Bangalore headquartered company, and we worked extensively with Aadhaar during the last 10 years, and having collectively processed around 40 billion plus transactions. We've had some learnings during the course of our journey with Aadhaar. So I'm here to basically present a very specific use case which we've picked from our experience with Aadhaar as such. So that is basically using an underlying ecosystem like Aadhaar, like MOSIP, to address a very specific issue. Right. So before we deep dive into what the solution does, I'd love to take you through the problems which the current industry is facing. Right. So there are various institutions, various government departments which conduct examinations at a very large scale. Right. So identity impersonation is a very, very big issue, a very big challenge for these institutions as such. One, if there are examinations which are having rampant cases of impersonation of identity, they lose a lot of trust. It leads to a lot of trust deficit. It obviously dilutes the merit because the rightful candidates are not selected. The other candidates who have impersonated the identity score better marks for the students who are actually not deserving to be selected. It tarnishes the reputation of all such institutions which are conducting these examinations. And obviously scenarios like re-examinations, investigations into what went wrong, and all such other scenarios lead to us, or rather potentially can lead to a significant financial losses for such institutions. Now, to address these issues, what we have is a brilliant solution. We call it Exam Assured. So what this solution does essentially is, it basically implements an ecosystem which is having a two-tier KYC as such. So one level of KYC is being done when the student or applicant enrolls for the examination through the website or through the mobile application of the institution. And the second level obviously is done at the examination center, the second level of KYC. It supports multi-factor authentication. So obviously, like Aadhaar, we support fingerprint, iris, and OTP in case of MOSIP. In case of Aadhaar, we also support face on. We've handled very large-scale examinations in India with this application. And one key factor is this entire stack gets deployed on-prem. Within the data center, within the cloud environment of the institution which is conducting this examination. It basically ensures that the data, the resultant data out of such transactions is not shared externally with any entity, even us as a service provider. Right? So with this as a background, I'll love to very quickly take you through how an exam assure solution works. Yeah, so the very first leg of transaction is how the student registers for an examination and what sort of process is followed to do the KYC at this stage. Right? So, yeah, can I request the MOSIP team to play the video for this one? Right. So here you can see that the student is going to the website of the institution and he is registering for an examination. This is a sample website which we've created. He enters some basic data. Now this entire thing can be customized as per the requirement of the institution. Here, for simplicity of demonstration, we've just captured 2 data points, that is his mobile number and email ID. Right? So after entering the mandatory details, he goes ahead and proceeds to the next step, where his unique identification number, his MOSIP ID, or his Aadhaar number gets entered into the ecosystem. He gives the consent. Everything, as I mentioned earlier, is customizable. Then a hit is sent to MOSIP. A one-time password is sent on his registered mobile number and email ID, the one which is registered with MOSIP or the ecosystems like Aadhaar. Post that point, what essentially happens is he enters the OTP which is received from MOSIP, and at this stage or after this stage, we download the entire data of that particular candidate from the MOSIP's database. Now, what gets downloaded in this example is the photo, date of birth, gender, obviously the name, and there are a few other data points in many scenarios which are required to be entered. Like if the examination is being conducted in multiple locations, multiple time slots, he can go ahead and select time slot and the location of his choice. At the end of this step, what essentially happens is an admit card gets generated. This is not a simple admit card essentially. What happens is all the data which is downloaded from MOSIP as well as the one which is entered by the candidate or by the institution gets embedded into this QR code which you're seeing on the screen, right? So when we embed the data, we obviously sign it digitally, encrypt it as such, so that open source QR code readers are not able to read the data from inside this QR code, right? So the student or the applicant carries this admit card with him at the examination center, and that's where the second leg of authentication sort of gets initiated. Can I switch over to the PPT, please? Perfect. So this is the level 2 of identity authentication which happens at the examination center. Can we play the second video? Yeah. So here the invigilator has a mobile application, in his hand, and after logging in himself first, so obviously he has to enter a valid set of login credentials to validate his identity. So we've ensured a 2-factor authentication for the invigilators also, user ID password plus a PIN combination. There is a registration process which happens before this. So the key thing is this solution supports both MOSIP KYC as well as offline KYC. So here you can see basically there is a QR code which is being read and the roll number is being auto-fetched from that. Then his fingerprint-based KYC gets initiated and his identity gets authenticated. Now in many scenarios what happens is, MOSIP sometimes may be down, or in some centers, can we switch over to the PPT? So in some centers, essentially the internet connection might not be available. In that case, the QR code plays a major role. So what goes inside the QR code is the demographic data plus the photo of this applicant. And in scenarios where there is no internet connection or where the underlying system is down for some reason, we basically are able to read the QR code, extract the data, specifically the photograph, and we are able to perform offline authentication of the identity by comparing the photo which is extracted from the QR code with the live photo of this candidate who is applying for the examination. So key advantages or benefits is that obviously it uses 2-tier architecture. So one at the time of enrollment, the other at the time of examination center. Completely customizable as per the requirement of the enterprise. Basically designed to eliminate impersonation of identity. As I said, it's deployed on-prem, which takes care of the data not being shared with any external entity. Supports offline validations, addresses the scenarios where there is no internet connection available. And it can be sort of modified, altered to comply with all the regulations of the respective countries and organizations. Yeah. So this I think so I've covered, and I have limited time at my disposal as well. So we love to address any queries at a later point on a one-on-one basis. Thank you very much.
Thank you. The next team is EduCerts.
Hi, good evening, everyone. I'm Ranveer from EduCerts. We're a company based out of Singapore and Delhi. And what we're going to show today is sort of a proof of concept that we put together using Inji and MOSIP components and also some DigiLocker components. This is centered around delivering scholarships to needy students or financial aid. So what we'll quickly cover in this presentation is what are the current challenges in financial aid. They might be different in different areas, but one of the common themes is that the actual delivery of these financial aid policies don't reach the intended target because there is a whole slew of problems surrounding the delivery process. So we'll talk a little bit about that, then switch over to how a verifiable credential solution can help alleviate some of the problems, and what we have used with Inji and other components to build our solution. So rather, a lot of words on this slide, but I think what I want to highlight here is what are the challenges in delivery of financial aid. In India and I think in many other countries, there are a lot of schemes. There's governments, in central government schemes or state government schemes, that they want to actually assist students to receive financial aid for studies. But how the current process is designed, only a fraction of that actually reaches the intended target. And there was a study done to see what are the main things that prevent this aid reaching the students. One or two of the top issues that came up was repetitive certificate-related expenses and then excessive paperwork. So how it works is, the student will either submit these scanned copies of their credentials to a government website, and they're asked to then bring original copies which are notarized and signed and other things. So there is a lot of running around between different offices, getting all of this together, while at the same time the student is actually trying to, study for their university, etc. So the concept, while there is a lot of online, applications for this, but it's only online to the extent that the documents can be submitted online. Everything else is an offline process of verification. And this is obviously time-consuming and leads to a lot of friction in delivery of the service. So, how can verifiable credentials help here? One of the things I think even Pramod mentioned in his keynote was, giving the actual information to the recipient and then they taking it to wherever they want to use it. And I think that's a great way to visualize how these things happen. So verifiable credentials can be instantly verified and help in quicker decision making. And so what we did as far as our proof of concept is we picked one state, and then within that state a very specific scholarship for a marginalized group, because we wanted to prove it out first. And then as we were sort of building this concept, one of the things we realized is while there is a lot of digitization effort in India, they exist in different pockets, and in some cases, certain documents that are required may not be in digital form also. So we found that those that were not in digital form, which is the first bucket, we used eSignet to authenticate the user and then certify to generate that document and store it with Inji wallet. There were other documents that pre-existed in DigiLocker. And the third thing we did is to sort of redesign a portal into which both documents from DigiLocker as well as Inji could be attached. So This is a rather complicated flow through, but essentially, as what is happening is that, as I mentioned, we're taking Inji documents, DigiLocker documents, and then attaching it to the portal. You see here, which if you're familiar with the Inji flow, you'll recognize this is the eSignet and certify flow where we get an income certificate. This is our portal into which we are extracting other documents from DigiLocker, and then finally putting it all together and submitting it. So in a nutshell, I think what we accomplished here, and this is, we're still refreshing and continuing with this effort, is to pull documents from disparate sources. That's number one. If they don't exist, then create fresh digital documents, but create a end-to-end digital delivery of a service, which was scholarships in this case. Thank you for your attention.
We'll now have the team from VS One World.
Hello, good evening, everyone. Let me begin by posing the question to the audience. The health administrators of this world, they're enabled, empowered through the digitization process, but it has also presented them with a very unique challenge. What is that challenge? The challenge is primarily ensuring the continuity of care. I'm Randika, part of the OpenPHL team, a co-founder of Astra Health Tech. My colleague Sadeepa is the Chief Innovation Officer of VS One World. So we have recognized that there's a challenge to be addressed, and the way that we want to address this is through OpenPHL. At OpenPHL, we have identified two primary pillars. The first one is a master patient index. The second one is an associated longitudinal electronic health record, an EHR. The master patient index operates as a central unit where all the other data generating systems who are in silos will interoperate with. We have a unique set of challenges because some of these systems may be legacy systems that do not interoperate. The others may be in an interoperation friendly setting, though they don't communicate with each other. How do we facilitate this? To do that, first and foremost, we need to filter out the verifiable identity of a patient across this health system. Each system will have an identity for this patient. There may be multiple such patient identities for the same patient in the laboratory domain, in the radiology domain, in the EMR, in the pharmacy domain, so on and so forth. We need to have all of these identities combined into one unique profile. The collection of these unique profiles will create the master patient index for that health system. It could even be a conglomerate of private hospitals as well, who will have a single unique ID per patient, and combination of these patient IDs would constitute the MPI. This is where the MOSIP deduplication capability comes into play. The second one, we will collect data from each of these systems in a summarized way through the IPS, the International Patient Summary, and we will combine all of these in a longitudinal chronological way that will constitute the EHR of that patient. Sadeepa.
Yeah, we'll go to the next slide. So we build this platform based on the concepts of concepts behind MOSIP. So first and foremost thing, what we learned, right? It is important to secure the identity. So we are using the MOSIP APIs, MOSIP identity APIs, to fetch the information of the patients, and we are doing that with the consent. So once again, we are using eSignet to do it with the consent. So securely getting the patient demographics from MOSIP and also getting the consent of the patient, we feel that it is important in a world driven by privacy. And also, right, MOSIP, the whole idea of MOSIP is the interoperability. So as Randika mentioned, right, our platform itself is interoperable. So if there could be legacy health platforms in the country, right, sometimes there might not be sufficient capabilities in this system, but still we can connect to these systems. So we have built with these principles of interoperability, patient consent, and MOSIP-driven eKYC in our platform. So we'll move to the next slide.
Thank you. So here we see a diagram of how these systems connect to each other. OpenPHL sits in the middle of these various silos that generate data. We comply with the general standards of FHIR, HL7, ICPC, ICD-10. We also are DICOM capable, as well as IPS, which is the International Patient Summary, for collecting data in a concise manner so that it is not heavy on the data usage of the entire health system. So we do not need to be operating in each of these facilities. They operate on their own, but we interoperate and form a central layer which connects the data into a unique profile, which is very comprehensive per patient. That is the key. As Sadeep explained, the MOSIP facilities that is provided ensures that all of this data that is combined into a single unique profile are indeed unique.
Yeah, so here we build this platform thinking of many stakeholders. So we found many scenarios where small governments are locked into the healthcare systems. They are unable to innovate, and at the same time, delivering good healthcare is a great thing. And we invite, if there are any healthcare providers or governments who are interested to work. And we also wanted to highlight, we have built this platform based on the open source and DPG principles. So we are planning to extend this into multiple use cases. So this whole conference, throughout the conference, we heard about the interest in verified credentials. So we are building an open, interoperable platform which should not lock the countries in. So even if you are a healthcare policymaker, or right, you are leading the country's digital transformation, or even it could be another DPI solution provider, we are very open to have discussions and help you address these problems. So we feel that doing this in an open way would help the countries to do wonders. So even we can go beyond the use cases which we listed, right? There could be even custom use cases. So what we want to highlight is that we are building an open platform where you can implement any use case as your country would like to have. So that's...
Thank you so much. Do come and talk to us. We would be very happy to interact with you all. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you both so much. We have multiple winning solutions from this team, but the first solution from Uru.
Thank you, Meghna. So we are going to talk about something called as Drive ID Express. Okay. So Drive ID Express is a solution that we have built on the Inji stack itself. It is issuance of a driving license as per ISO MDL standards. Okay. So today we see a lot of problems in issuance of a license. The process is completely fragmented, and there are storage of these IDs or driving licenses are in the wallet, in the physical wallet, or a paper copy that's being shared across with many people. And there are very number of issues related to handling the paper-based documents or a screen grab of the document itself, right? So what we have done is we have built a simple solution where the driving license platform, okay, integrates with a solution called Cred Issuer here, which enables issuance of credentials using Inji Certify and connecting to a driving license wallet which is built on Inji. That's the Cred Issuer driving license wallet. And we also have a verification portal and a verification solution which enables scanning of the or accepting the driving license, MDL-based driving license from the Inji wallet and verifying that. We just wanted to showcase an architecture here. Do mind the arrows, okay? It's an interoperability problem. We used Canva and this is PPTX, so everything has gone crazy. So we have a platform called Cred Issuer, which has a central engine, okay? And the engine here is powered by Inji Certify to issue verifiable credentials. Similarly, there are other engines we can configure and plug in. Similar to an issuance engine for MDL docs, an issuance engine for claim 169 QR codes, an issuance engine for issuing credentials using Sunbird, issuing credentials with spoofs and other ID systems, okay? And we have used eSignet as an authentication mechanism to connect to the e-lockers or credential wallet and store the credential here itself. MDL is becoming quite famous. It's being used in multiple states in the US or in the European Union or in Australia. So we have seen this trending very closely, and many of these states are working and they want an interoperable solution to use and share MDL so that tourists can visit other countries and share the credentials and use it. So what we are looking at with the Inji deployment here is, a unified Inji wallet which accepts not just W3C VCs, also MDL, ISO, MDL docs. We are looking at instant notifications, okay? Using with the customized Inji wallet, we can instantly get notified if any credentials are issued to the wallet or not. Okay, and see if we can expand this to making a digital license app altogether. So we issued ISO 180135 aligned MDL licenses here. We have a portal for validating the citizen's identity using the same license and enable MDL secure notifications as well. So we have built the issuance library as well as a wallet which downloads the credentials. So I think here's the video. So we are issuing a credential right now using our platform, okay? While filling the details directly on the platform, this can be achieved by integrating with a driving license solution where a API call can be done here to issue a credential. So in a second, we can see a credential has been issued, okay? And the QR code here contains a ISO compliant MDL license. And right now we are opened the Inji app, which scans this license, okay? The QR code, and a driving license is available with us. So we have customized the Inji wallet also to accept MDL. So we want to eliminate paper dependency, strengthen a national digital identity ecosystem, okay? Enable instant checks using the credentials that are available on the Inji wallet and reduce frauds and misuse. Thank you.
Our next solution is by the team from Tech5.
Hello, everyone. I think this is the time of the day where you see me like a accept cookies message where you want to just click and get rid of me. So we'll make it short. I know we have time constraints. There's a video that I would like you to play.
Across Ethiopia, life is changing. People are connecting, accessing services, and moving faster than ever before. FidaPass is your one-stop digital gateway where identity meets convenience. Verify your identity with a biometric scan. Store credentials like Kabele ID, student ID, and driver's license, and sign documents electronically. Open a bank account, transfer funds, or get instant credit approval for loans without paperwork or queues. FidaPass works with major banks and fintechs. Access over 100 government services through single sign-on. Get instant tax ID and tax clearance. Open a business or complete the sale of a property, or update your professional license. And for students, verify credentials instantly for jobs or scholarships with QR-based authentication. Farmers can use input vouchers for fertilizer, receive payments, and access credit facilities. Beneficiaries get safety net payments and disaster recovery payouts quickly and transparently. FidaPass, your identity, your collateral, your future. Download today and unlock secure, instant access to essential services, anytime, anywhere.
All right, thank you. That video does a great job. I don't have to talk a lot about it. But to give you a quick description of what we are doing. So what you saw is a digital agent. And everybody talks about wallets, but depends on who you talk to, right? If you talk to identity industry, they confuse identity wallets. And if you go to talk to banking people, they talk about money wallets, right? So we have stopped using the word wallet because it throws off a lot of people, especially when you're trying to combine identity and payment rails. So what you saw over here is a digital agent, which actually combines both wallets, identity wallet and a payment wallet. So what this does is, and again, there is another point I would like to make. When you talk about wallets, it's like talking of browsers. But what we are trying to implement, and here NIDP is our partner, is literally building the internet. Yeah, wallet is just the browser, is the interface. What do you get in there? How do you share the credentials? And what do you do with it is a different story altogether. So for this project, and we have these live in 3 countries now, one in Latin America, one in Africa, and one in Southeast Asia. What it does is, or what we did, was the focus on building the trust infrastructure behind it. And we started with the acceptance first. If people come from a fintech background, you know, issuing a credit card is not what the bank wants. Yeah, it's all about acceptance. Where can you use that credit card? Same way with this. What we have done with the FIDA Pass, you know, working with NIDP, is to build that digital agent, which in the background has the whole trust infrastructure, decentralized trust, and then decentralized identity verification. Using that, you establish rails which allow you to do data exchange in a decentralized way, and then you can do whatever, data, payments, you know, tokenized assets, stable coins, and things like those. This is already integrated with a couple of services you saw. So we have focused on the acceptance first. We have worked backwards. How do you streamline integration of relying parties from legal, commercial, and technical policies perspective? There's a lot of embedded economics involved in this. How do you do sustainable revenue generation for the government, the relying parties, and so on? The way, you know, one would ask, like, how does it connect to MOSIP? So in FIDA Pass, FIDA ID is the foundational ID. That's the bedrock. It's the trust anchor. The ecosystem, let's say the digital agent, connects to the IDA on a DIDCOM communication, let's say, channel, and does something very different from an OIDC VCI, if you will, because it gives a lot of flexibility. You capture face, fingerprints, the citizen can onboard themselves, get their verifiable credential into the wallet, and that's the start of the journey. Yeah? From there, they can connect to a bank called Coop. In, like, I think we have measured it, in 5 seconds, you can open a bank account. A Visa payment card credential is issued into the wallet, and then the person can start, you know, paying with that. Of course, there is the payment acceptance side that we have to talk about, and this 5 minutes is not going to be enough. So this is a great example for countries who are willing to build a government-sponsored wallet or a digital agent. And there are a lot of features coming into it, because I say that digital agent, because it does, like, it's your power of attorney, you know, interacting with the digital interfaces based on you. But it will also have agentic AI coming into it, where I say, pay my water bill, and it take care of that. Again, 5 minutes is not enough. There is a lot of stuff behind it. This is tip of the iceberg, but you know, happy to answer any questions. I'll be here tomorrow for this country or any other country. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much. We'll invite back the next team from Uru.
Hello, everyone. Our next use case is called Doc2VC. We have a platform today to issue verifiable credentials, as we talked about. But the problem that and challenges that we face today in the market is that there are legacy documents, paper-based documents, and how fast can we move them to a verifiable credentials? Right? That's what we are here for. And we want to showcase how we can convert a simple physical document into a verifiable credential as fast as possible. Right? Paper-based records are slow down digital delivery. Okay? Sharing these documents and checking if these documents are valid or not valid is a huge problem today, and leads to multiple frauds. And definitely there are solutions today in the market which digitize most of the services into verifiable credentials. But what about legacy documents? Right? That's where we have bought in Doc2VC. Okay? We have an issuance platform where we issue or upload the document, okay, which actually connects to a workflow engine. We are using N8N here, which is connected to DeepSeek to analyze the documents data, and LLM, we are using ChatGPT here to ChatGPT here to correct anything needed, and we also provide an option for the verifier or for the issuer to check the data and update it, and finally issue a credential using the credentialing engine, which is built on Inji. Okay. Similarly, for the verification portal also, we have done a LLM integration, and we have created an agent which can read any VC, QR code based VCs, and take out data from it and tell the user what data he wants by simply asking a simple question. Okay. This is the credit issuer architecture. Anyways, let's move on. So, features of Doc to VC. So, we have an automated credential issuance using Inji Certify itself. Okay. Credential design and delivery are done by the credit issuer designer. So, there is a designer where you can, set up the VC, add the test, add the fields and everything. Okay. And a credential verification solution with an AI chatbot. This is an AI-driven digitization engine built for high accuracy. So this solution is built for government departments, verification and compliance authorities, document issuing institutions, educational institutions who have legacy documents available with them and want to digitize them as soon as possible. And we know that what we are solving for, no manual documents scrutiny, mobile first version, okay? And it is language agnostic. We have tested with a couple of local Indian languages today. And we want to bring in new features such as audio assistance and stuff, okay? We see the document, this engine can be used in various use cases. Land and property records is one of the use cases that we have taken for as an example today, okay? Someone will play the video here. Can somebody kick in the video? Yes. Yeah. So right now we are just loading a land record. We are processing the document, doing an OCR on it, and doing an AI extract using DeepSeek and getting the verifiable credential here. If there are any mistakes, the user can update this, which will be tracked, and can share the credential with the holder. So it takes a time to process the, connect to the credential engine and issue the credential. Now we have a verifiable credential with us, which can be uploaded to our very automated verifier engine, and we can ask it multiple questions and get details out of the verifiable credentials itself. And this is the credential, and we have embedded the QR code on the existing VC itself, okay? So this is something we are already using in many places. Okay, and the verifiable credential now can be scanned and validated as well with the same data fields that were there on the land record example that we saw just now. Okay, I think we're done. Yes. Okay, now we will move to the next use case, that is aid flow. And we want to play the video. Yeah, okay. Yeah, can you play the video directly? Yes. So this is aid flow. This is a worker registration module that we have brought in from India. So generally what happens is construction workers who go to the contractors and work in India, okay. So we have made a module where the workers can be registered, okay, using a simple portal. And we simply capture the photographs here and register them. And the photograph goes into a small ABIS solution here that we have built in-house, okay? And the ABIS does a deduplication on face today. So registration of workers is important here because they generally get benefits after the complete X number of working days in India. So we have taken that use case here. So the worker is registered right now, okay? And the same worker we are trying to register once again, okay? With similar details, but the same photograph. once the details are filled and we continue to add the worker, we get an error saying that the record already exists in a EBIS. So there's a small EBIS that is built here, okay, for 1 million population. Now we have a attendance app where a person can authenticate themselves while entry and exit and record their attendance. Daily workers need to mark their attendance, and based on that we know how many days they have worked. Based on completion of the 90 days of work, we generally issue a verifiable credential with our credential solution. So right now, admin is logging in, okay, and trying to check if the worker, has completed the stipulated number of work days. So once that is done, we can issue a verifiable credential for the worker itself. So here is one of the workers who has completed 230 days of work, and we are generating a verifiable credential using the Inji Certify module. And the credential can be shared with the worker over the email, SMS, or on the wallet itself. By just entering the credential ID and OTP, they can get the credentials on the wallet. Or the credential can be printed and given as well, and can be scanned and verified. So right now we're scanning the QR code and trying to verify it using the Inji Verify module. Once that is done, we issue benefits to workers, okay? And benefit schemes generally vary from worker to worker, where a admin today comes in and issues a benefits voucher. Let's say a voucher for marriage assistance has been given of 50,000 INR, and the voucher that is shared with the worker is shared via email or printed, or in the wallet itself, similar to what we saw for the work assistance certificate. Once the credential is there, this credential can be taken up and shared with the agency, and after verification, aid can be provided to them. So what we have done right now is, without internet itself, right, offline we can scan this QR code, get the facial image out of the QR code, and authenticate the person offline with liveness checks. So this is offline, and once the system comes online, we can check that the data is uploading to the central server itself. We will do one more round of tests here with a paper-based credential which has the QR code. We scan the QR code, there is no internet connectivity, we are able to render the photograph inside the QR code. The person is able to authenticate with actions, okay, liveness is done, and geotagging is done. Now we switch on the internet and share the data to the central server. So this app will enable, authentication or multiple use cases in multiple scenarios. So the impact that it makes is huge. Thank you.